So this is the time now to say our official, very, very, very warm welcome from Vienna for today's event, the digital info session on the Peter Drucker Challenge. So I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Franziska Graf, and I joined the Drucker community very recently, actually, only last year. But I'm very excited to be the moderator for today's event. So today's session is really about getting you ready to participate in the Peter Drucker Challenge. And we have a really exciting topic this year, which is bouncing back, emerging stronger after setback. So Ilse just told me that it was a very hard process of coming up with a topic, but resilience, I think, is a topic that is on all of our minds right now. So we're very excited that you're participating and hopefully also handing in your essays. So what do we have planned for today's info session? First of all, we have Jessica Wheaton from Mazars, who is a trusted partner of the Peter Drucker Challenge already since a very long time. And she will share her long-standing experience as a partner with us. And then, since we are, of course, an info session today, this is kind of the core of the event, will be an info session where we provide you with many different points of information around the challenge itself. And we also have a small Q&A planned here. And then, of course, because this is a Peter Drucker event, we also have some food for thought for you. And for this, we have Professor Behnam Tabrizi, who has already been very active now in the beginning of the session. So yes, this is kind of the program for today. So to anyone who has their camera on, I would love to hear some feedback, like visual feedback. Are you excited for today? You can raise your hand on your level of excitement. You can use it to stretch a little bit. Yes, okay, great. Behnam, I didn't see your hand.
No, I was saying hi. I was saying hi to Federico, my friend from Spain.
Great. So also have the chat open. So anyone who just joined, welcome also. I see Brazil, I see India. Hello, everyone. So before we jump right in, I will move to the side a little bit because we have Mo here doing a little bit of technical housekeeping for today's session.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to, before we start, just to tell everyone to first of all, if you have any questions, go to the chat and write it down there, okay? And secondly, to mute yourself so we make sure everything runs smoothly. And thirdly, to rename yourself on the Zoom client application, okay? That's it from my side, just a quick reminder. Thank you.
Thanks, Mo. Great. So this brings us to the first session of today. And as I mentioned before, the Peter Drucker Challenge also has strong partners, and without them, we wouldn't be able to have this challenge. And for this, I want to invite Jessica Wheaton to our digital stage from Mazars, who has been a long and trusted partner of the challenge. And Jessica currently serves as the Global Corporate and Internal Communications Manager at Mazars. And Mazars is an international audit, tax, and advisory firm active in over 95 countries with close to 50,000 professionals. It's a mind-blowing number, I have to say, Jessica. So since we have an online event, I'm handing over my virtual microphone to you. And yes, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, and hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And it's great seeing so many people interested. I can see that there's nearly 100 participants that have joined the session. So it's really exciting that so many people are interested in the challenge. So as Franziska just said, I'm Jessica. I've been at Mazars now for 7 years. And what's interesting is that actually Mazars has been a top sponsor of the Peter Drucker Challenge for 7 years. It's a coincidence. It's not thanks to me, but I thought it was a funny coincidence when I was preparing for the call today. And I want to thank the Drucker Society for giving me the floor and to explain why it's so important and why Mazars every year without fault wants to support the challenge. So as Francesca said, Mazars is a leading professional services firm. And what does that mean? That means that we're in a knowledge-intensive industry. And so we really rely on the young minds of young professionals. We have thousands of young graduates that join us every year. And so as a responsible organization, for us, it's really paramount that we invest in the next generation and into young talent, because we know that people join us and it might be their first job or their second job. So it's really the start of their professional career. I think someone should put themselves on mute if possible. Thank you. And so, yeah, we really want to just grow. My mic was deactivated. So I was saying we have thousands of young professionals that join us all around the world every year. And so our responsibility to them is to really make sure that when they come to Mazars, it's a qualifying experience, that they learn, that they grow, that they become really, modern managers, because we know that young people might not stay with us forever and they will disseminate in many companies and many industries around the world. But we want to make sure that what they've learned with us, make sure that when they become leaders elsewhere, they have the right skill set to contribute to the society, to the economy, for the better good. And I think, that's what Peter Drucker was all about. He really had a human-oriented management philosophy. This challenge is about keeping his philosophy alive in the minds of young generations. And because at Mazars, really, all our business model is built on management and leadership, it just seemed like a natural extension for us to support this challenge. And I think for all of you that are here today, this is really the opportunity to share your talent and to unlock your potential, share your ideas, your vision of the world, your worldview, and how you see things. I think in the beginning we were saying, after these challenging times, these challenging few years, well, I think the need for leadership is really high, and everybody can be a leader. It's not reserved to a mere few. Everybody can be a leader. And I was speaking actually to Yavnika and Nayara when we were preparing this call, and Nayara had an interesting question. She said to me, why should people participate in an essay contest now that there's ChatGPT? And it reminded me of what Marshall Goldsmith says. He says that leaders are exceptional at relationship management. And I think only humans can do this. So this is why I think it's really important that the young people, young professional, young managers take this chance to participate in this essay contest, share their worldview, share their ideas, because the opportunity to go to Vienna is immense. I had the chance to meet a lot of people when I went in 2017. And 7 years later, I'm still in contact with many people. I can still leverage this network. And if you get a chance to go, you'll meet some of the top CEOs that we have today, the top management thinkers that we have today. You'll meet loads of other professionals. So my word today is just good luck. And I hope many of you will participate.
Jessica, thank you so much for your input and your inspiring words. I love how you mentioned the strong focus that Mazars has on leadership, and also why in times of artificial intelligence it's so important that people participate. So thank you so much for this long support, and 7 years really is a lot. So I think we can all give some virtual applause and hearts to Jessica, and yes, or like this also. Thank you so much. Great. So this brings us to the next point on our agenda. We have a lot of things to do today, but not so much time, which is the info session on the challenge itself. So just some quick technical housekeeping also on how we will do this. We have, as I said, this info session planned, and after the info session, we will also have a Q&A. So since chances are quite high that your questions will be answered during the info session, maybe you can keep your questions until the end and then post them in the chat, so we don't have the challenge to select then the questions who haven't been answered yet. And yeah, so to the info session itself, who better to host an info session than two ladies who already have been through the challenge themselves. I think if you go through the experience, you're much more qualified. So we're very, very happy to have Yavnika and Nayara presenting you the info session today. So just a quick word on who they are. Yavnika has been the Drucker Challenge top 10 winner twice in 2012 and also in 2014. And she's the founder of Impactica Consulting, who provides marketing services to purpose-driven organizations around the world. And then we also have Nayara, who was a Drucker Challenge finalist in 2014 and 2017, both of them twice. And she also told me that her experience with the challenge itself really impacted her experience and continues to impact her experience. And now she's also consulting in the global technology management firm, and even there the challenge is still helping her. So with this being said, again, I hand over the virtual microphone to Yavnika and Nayara for the info session of today's event.
Okay, thank you very much, Francisca, for the introduction. I'm Nayara, and thank you everyone who has joined in to learn more about the challenge. Let's start, or shall we say, let's bounce in. Mo, if we could have the slides, please. Can you guys see the slides?
Not yet.
Okay. Just a minute, please. Oh, okay. Here we are. Okay, so like I said, thank you very much again for everyone who joined in. Now, in addition to being a life-changing experience and an opportunity to meet experts from across the world and also make lifelong friends, what is the Drucker Challenge? Next slide, please. It all starts with an essay on a given theme. Next slide, please. Yeah, next again. So, yeah. So, what is the Drucker Challenge? It all starts with an essay on a given theme. If you visit the Drucker Challenge website, you'll notice that since 2010, when the challenge was launched, the essay topic reflects on an issue or a development that has great social currency. And the topic isn't just a theme, it's actually a question or an invitation that calls for your opinion and experiences and how you relate to that. And of course, you will find that no matter how unpredictable or strange our world gets, we will always find something in the wisdom of Peter Drucker that helps explain or understand the context of our world. Which brings us to the next thing. Next slide, please. Yeah. So next slide again, please. So this is something that we celebrate with the Drucker Challenge. It is the far-seeing wisdom of Peter Drucker, who is the founder of modern management. Next slide, please. So now you know what the challenge is. It's an essay competition, it's a global competition, and it is really an opportunity that changes lives. And there's a reason that many participants end up participating year after year until they become two-time finalists like Yavnik and me and become ineligible to participate again. That's how much we love it. So you know what the challenge is now, but I'll take this opportunity to address some popular questions we get each year about eligibility and what makes a good essay and so on. So number one, if you are between the ages of 18 and 35, both inclusive, you can certainly participate. And we have two categories. One is the student category, and it doesn't matter what level of studies you're in, whether you're an undergrad or master's or PhD, or even if you're a part-time student. If you are in that category, you can certainly take part. And the second is the manager and entrepreneur category. Now, again, this is very broadly defined. We don't, by manager, we don't always mean somebody who is a typical corporate MBA. It can be anyone who is managing resources, budget, people, and so on. Now, these rules are very, these rules are discussed in great detail on our website. But I would still urge you to participate. If you have any doubt, do write to us. Chances are that you can probably take part. It's also important to know that we invite participation from all over the world. As I mentioned in a previous slide, the Drucker Challenge laureate community, which consists of the people who reached the top 20 since 2010, crosses over 400 people. We're almost 500 strong, and they're from all over the world. And the number of participants is even greater. So the only continent we haven't received entries from so far is Antarctica. Okay, but let's be optimistic. Okay, and a lot of people are also quite hesitant to submit because English isn't their first language, or they wonder if they will be judged on their inability to use grammar perfectly and so on. But that is again a very secondary concern. As long as you can make yourself understood in your essay, you can participate. This is not a literary or academic essay. We're not looking for precision in language. We're looking for personal essays, essays that are original and reflective, and really show that you've taken out time to read and understand the essay question. That is very important. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? So this is a quick snapshot of the prizes that we offer. As you can see, it's a pretty generous offering. The first prize for the winner in the manager and student category both consists of 2,000 euros. Then the person who places second gets 1,200, and the one who comes third is 1,000, and so on. But the real experience, the really life-changing experience that our past winners will also tell you is the ability to actually meet people in Vienna at the Global Peter Drucker Forum. Because the kind of learning and exchanges that you get over here, they're absolutely matchless. We hope that you will participate just so that you can get that chance, and also to access other resources like our alumni community, an annual subscription to Harvard Business Review, and many other things. I mean, the rewards keep coming. And if you have any questions around this, please do let us know. We do cover travel for the category specified. However, if you have not placed in the first top 10, we don't cover travel expenses. All right. Okay. Next slide, please. Yeah. So for those of us who have visited the website and who are familiar with the theme of bouncing back, emerging stronger after setbacks, the idea on this is to really think about how this relates to your world. Okay. How does 2023 come out when we think of bouncing back? And what did Peter Drucker have to say about this? Now, another word that I would like to add in over here is that we don't expect everyone to be extremely well versed with everything that Peter Drucker wrote. He wrote over 30 books and hundreds of essays and articles. But you should be familiar with where he came from, what was unique about his approach to management. He did a lot of groundbreaking work, which was really quite new for his time, but which has become very mainstream today. So please do that, and also take time to really reflect. If you familiarized yourself with the theme, if you have done a great deal of reflection, and you've taken time to assemble your thoughts on what the essay theme, your experiences, the teachings of Drucker Challenge, you're on your way to writing a very effective essay. We also hope that you will check out the remaining guidelines in detail on our website, and also to complete the declaration of interest form. Next slide, please. Yeah, so these are some tips from me. It's important to organize your thoughts and to write with clarity, simplicity. Like I said, no academic jargon needed. Be simple, be plain spoken. That works. And make an effort to be understood. Okay, and to let your unique thoughts come through. That's it from my end. But Yavnika will be taking you through the rest of this. Thank you.
Hi, Naira. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for being here today. I have been associated with the challenge since quite many years now. And over the years, I can share some insights that will help you to write the essay and put your best foot forward. The first thing that I want to emphasize is that we really want your thoughts. We want your experiences. We want to hear from you how you bounced back, in the past few years, where there have been so many changes with the pandemic. You might have gone through some setbacks, but how have you built yourself back? Like, how are you building yourself back? Or it could have been something that has happened in the past in your career and in your life. So we are looking for your experiences, right? So really, I really don't see any way that a copy paste will really help you win this challenge. We really want your original thoughts, right? So my first tip will be that don't copy paste, use your thoughts, your reflection, and we really want to hear your experiences. Uh, Also, like Nara mentioned, do read up on Drucker's previous works, do read on the essays, the books, and also I think reflect on his thoughts and add your own. This essay is really about encouraging you to have a critical view on how is Drucker relevant today, and how you can relate to Drucker today in your experience, right? So we are really looking for original essays. Of course, like I said, please don't plagiarize. And yes, every essay that you submit is read by a human. At our end, we make an effort to read and mark and judge each and every essay that we get. And believe me, we get thousands of essays every year. So it's really a competitive competition, but really, we are looking at your experience and how you are sharing it, with us. And definitely it's a great opportunity to, learn more and also present your thoughts, right, on the topic. Uh, Also, we really urge you to follow the essay guidelines. Uh, do write at least 1,500 words. You could go up to 3,000 words, but more than that, it's too long an essay, right? Also, I would really say that don't wait for the deadline, right? If it's May 31st, please start to do your homework so that you can submit before the deadline. And I think that's a really important tip, submit early, uh, submit after you're convinced that you have the final essay, the best essay that you have ever written. And don't wait for the deadline, don't wait for the last moment to upload your essay. I think that's another important tip that I can share with you. Yeah, and do keep in touch with all the social channels that we have. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Follow us and keep sharing your ideas, keep tuning into what's happening at the challenge end and all the news. And I think you'll be able to write a great essay, right? Yeah, that's all from my end. Thank you so much.
Yes, Nika and Nayara, thank you so much for the info session. And now is the opportunity to post your questions in the chat. Whilst you're thinking and doing this, I actually have a question, because both of you said familiarize yourself with the work of Peter Drucker, and was wondering, where would you start? Are there any books you recommend? Maybe also, if you don't have books, any online articles? So there was also a question in the chat on that.
Nika, you want to take this?
Yeah, I think a very good starting point is the essay of like how you should manage yourself. Drucker has written a great essay on how managers can actually start with themselves. And I know that, starting with yourself is a very good idea. I think Professor Tabrizi, who's also been my teacher at Stanford, will agree that, all the change begins with yourself. So reflecting on your experiences and going through how you have learned things over the years, I think is a great starting point. So I would definitely recommend reading up Drucker's famous essay. He's also written a lot about like knowledge societies and how we are living in the age of knowledge. where it's not just information, right? You have to be able to draw insights from the data or from information. So like that is a very important insight. And the third, I would say, most of his work is focused around how people are the core of any society and any change that you're trying to accomplish. This focus on people, I think, is a core idea that you should explore through many of his work, and how it's really about the humans. Even in a machine-oriented world, how do you add the humanistic aspect, right? So I think do explore all these ideas from Drucker's, I would say, extensive list of essays, books. Read up on how other authors have interpreted Drucker, right? That is also a great insight and a great suggestion, right? Naira, anything comes to your mind?
Yeah, actually, given that a lot of us will be students participating this year, and knowing how students like to leave things for the last minute, I have some shortcuts to offer. Number one, read Peter Drucker's articles. They're very short. They're in very simple language. So that's number one. Number two is that do read the archived essays on our website, because that will tell you what the judges are looking for and what they have historically been looking for. What are the common patterns between winning essays since 2010? And many of them also reference Peter Drucker's work. So if there's something that interests you, you can look that up very easily. And the third resource would be, do look up our YouTube videos, where former winners have also shared their experiences on how they approached the essay. At least one of them learned about Peter Drucker after learning about the essay contest. So, and he still managed to make it to the finals. So do check out our YouTube channel for sure.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. I'm just going through the chat, and there are actually two questions I would like to combine, because Deborah asked if we can also add experiences of other people in our essay, and then also Asil, I hope I pronounced this correctly. He has a similar question, just a different angle. He was asking, since he's still a student, if it would be relevant to write also about his country or his university.
Could you repeat the second one? For personal stories and other people's essay, other people's experiences, yes, you certainly can. But I would, as per the guidelines, I would request you to keep names out in respect for privacy. The second thing about university or organization, could you?
I can repeat the question. So we have one participant who's still a student, and he's asking if it would be relevant also to write about their country or also university.
Yes, please do. You see, in 2020 and 21, when we spoke about crises, many winning essays referenced what was going on in their countries. So yeah, very well. Thank you.
Great. Another question from Raisa is if you can talk more about the tolerance for English mistakes and what is acceptable.
Okay, as I mentioned, it's important to be understood. So if you're unsure about a word or an idiom, it's better to go with the safer option. And I can't really say I can't give a very specific answer on what's tolerable, but I think past essays will be a good indicator of the level that we're looking for.
Thank you. Then questions they keep coming in. I think there's someone who's not muted, so maybe you can mute yourself. Thank you. Then Trish is asking if the student writers should keep students, academics, as readers in mind. And the same question also for managers, entrepreneurs, if they should write with co-managers, entrepreneurs, as readers in mind. So I think the question is, who would be the audience?
Well, the audience, the way I see it, many of the winning essays of the past have been personal essays, and they have been relevant to everyone. Like even if whether you're a manager or not, it's something that is it's easily relatable, very understandable. So keep a broad mind and focus less on the audience and more about your idea, how unique it is. And also, if you can see how your idea connects with the teaching of Peter Drucker.
Okay. Keep firing questions at you. Next question. Siam is asking, I think it's personal lifestyle essay, isn't it? If yes, then should it be a real life challenging story?
It can be, yeah. People in the past have taken very creative approaches. For example, in 2019, we had one finalist write an essay to Da Vinci as part of an essay. So obviously not real life, but it's okay to be imaginative as long as you're sticking to the structure. Like, it has to be an essay. It cannot be anything else. It has to be in English, and it has to adhere to the word count, and it has to obviously address the theme. So everything within those boundaries is welcome.
Then we have a question, is the essay all about management? Question.
Well, it is about how you see management.
Sarah is asking if she can include a graph or diagram in the essay, the own or a reference.
You can include diagrams, and you will need to cite those. We've mentioned the citation guidelines on our website.
Then we move on to the question of the prompts that you read out loud before. So are they expected to use all of the prompts or just a few?
Pardon? Oh, Yovika, if you heard that.
The question is if they should use all of the prompting questions that you mentioned or just a few.
You use as many as you can relate to. Yeah, I think once we actually get down to writing the essay, we find that not everything works for us. So, yeah. I see Manali has asked about references. Yes, you can certainly quote other people.
And then we also have people just sharing their own experience in the chat. To everyone who's already participated, thank you so much for being a testimonial for the talent. It's really great to hear your stories. It's super inspiring. Thank you. Then we have a question from Justin. If it's possible to submit entries under both categories, one for student and another one for professional.
No, it's just one entry per person.
Okay. Then Siam, you're saying that you're not properly understood about this year's topic. Please can you repeat if possible? I think it's easiest if you could read it up online. I think that's the clearest way to have the topic clear again on the Peter Drucker Challenge website. If I may be so daring to take the question here. The age requirement of the participants already has been answered. And then interesting question from Alina, if there's a difference between how student and professional entrepreneur essays are valued.
Well, actually, we have a blind reviewing process. So, I mean, you see, we don't, sorry about that. Just a second, please.
So maybe whilst Nayara is muted, Yavnika, could you take this question?
Yes, sure, Francisca. Can you repeat the question that we were at?
Yes. So the question is if there are differences in how students and professional entrepreneur essays are evaluated.
The judging criteria is the same in terms of the quality of essays that we are looking for. The categories are different because the experiences of, say, a manager might be different from a student's experiences. So we just want to give a fair chance, and therefore we have the categories. But in terms of the judging criteria and the quality of essays that we are looking for, the rigor in your research, your thought process, your originality, all that remains the same.
Paul is asking if they can include pictures of points or issues they want to highlight themselves.
Pictures, as long as they're referenced, yes, if you can give the source. And also they should not identify the author. So no selfies. Right?
Then We have another question. Also, I guess with if they can use a reference or quote other people in the essay. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Then
You can.
great. The questions are really firing in. So the next question is maybe this is a question both of you can take. When it comes to judging in this challenge, what are the top 5 hallmarks of a good essay?
What are the top 5 formats?
Hallmarks, like what are the top 5 pillars, or I would say maybe according to you, to make a great essay from your own personal experience?
Oh, okay. So number 1 would definitely be taking time to understand the essay topic. And it's amazing how many people miss this, but you really, I mean, every participant needs to read the essay question many times, and also to reflect on that. Reflection is a very important part of that. The second thing is insight, originality, and we're looking for. I mean, this is obviously not in the judging criteria, but we're looking for a sincere essay. So no marketing pitches, no. Don't pan to the audience. Don't tell us. Don't write what you think we want to read. Write from the heart. So. And
Yes.
I can mention the other 3.
Yes, so I think originality is a first thing, like we discussed, relevance to the theme. Then how are you interpreting Drucker, and how are you relating it, his writings, his reflections to your experiences and to the theme, how you are sort of expressing yourself, right, in that process. We are looking for that clarity of thought, right? So I would say top 3 are originality, relevance to the theme, and relevance and your connection to Drucker, right? And the rest of the 2, I would say, of course, you have to adhere to the guidelines. Have you written the essay between 1,500 to 3,000 words? Are you eligible? Have you submitted the essay in time? All of those guidelines are essential for you to follow. And another thing that we had discussed, as part of that guideline is like, please don't write your name in the essay. We each and every essay is read, and we don't want to necessarily have that bias of knowing your name, and your name can reveal a lot about, like, probably the country or place, or so we don't want that bias to enter when we are judging that criteria. So we ask you not to write your name in the essay, right? And yes, I think these are the top guidelines that we are looking for, right? Thank you.
Whilst you were explaining, there was actually a great post in the chat. Don't write what you think you want to read, write from the heart. I think that sums up what we were just saying really beautifully. Thank you for posting that. Since my job today is not just moderator, but also a little bit the timekeeper, I have my eyes on the time. And I know that there are some questions still in the chat that we left unanswered. So I would actually like to close this info session now with a last question, which is, if there were any questions that haven't been answered today, how can people submit questions on the essay?
Yes, actually, I would request Mo to share the last slide of the presentation. It has our contact details. In addition to all our social media pages and websites, you can also write questions to essay@druckerchallenge.org.
So we are preparing the slide. Just 1 second. Exactly. So these are all of the channels where you can reach us with questions, additional questions that haven't been answered now in the chat. If you were to pick one, the most efficient channel to reach you, what would it be?
Well, we always answer questions that are emailed to us, and all our social media channels are also quite active. So, I mean, I don't have a preference, to be honest. I mean, any question that comes anywhere will get an answer. So.
Okay, so questions will not get lost. So if you posted a question in the chat, chances are that they might be answered now, but in the chat, also by other participants. But if you want to be really sure just make sure to take your question and send it to us after the event. And once again, we're sorry that we're not able to take all of the questions. And yeah, thank you for your now. In general, we will take them, but thank you for your patience. So this brings us to the next part of today's event. Maybe just a quick taking out after all of the hard information that we just got. So now it's a bit more of a giving an insight also into what it's like to be part of the event, to be part of the challenge itself. And there are 2 testimonials that we have, and I'm actually handing back to Nayara and Yavnika to introduce the 2 testimonials to give you a little bit of a feeling of what it's like to participate in the challenge.
I'll very quickly introduce Pedro, who was our winner from 2022, and Darla Bautista, and Pedro is from Brazil. And Darla is also one of the winners from 2022. She's from the Philippines. And I hand over the mic to them.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Darla, calling in from Thailand today. So I just wanted to quickly share about my experience with the Drucker Challenge and maybe touch on what it's gonna be like for you if you do join and participate and potentially win. So quick background on why I participated in the challenge. Honestly, I joined it for 2 reasons. One is last year I found the topic to be very relevant for me. So I basically started a business that was founded on an e-commerce business that really took off because of influencer marketing. And last year's topic was about the passion economy, and I felt like that was a topic that I had a lot to talk about. So that's one of the reasons why I joined. The second was because, personally, I really liked the prizes. I wanted to at least get the chance to see Vienna. Or maybe even win the cash prize. I think those were the 2 reasons why I mainly participated. But what I did find out was that there was so much more to the whole experience than just, the free trip or even the other prizes that they had. Overall, I'd say that I expected the experience to be very straightforward, where I'd write, wait for the results, and maybe attend the conference if I do win. But what I did discover was that there's 3 big reasons why anybody should join, and 3 main things that I benefited from joining. So the first one was a great opportunity for introspection. So with writing the essay, I found out so much about myself because I did talk about my personal experiences, both with starting a business that was that really leveraged on influencer marketing, and even dabbling into TikTok myself. I also used that opportunity to really learn about business from Peter Drucker's work. So that was a great way for me to learn about myself, and maybe even learn about how Drucker's lessons applied to myself. I mean, I've heard about Peter Drucker. I've read some of his works when I was a student, but it was really through this exercise that I got to apply that and mix it with my own experiences. The second thing that I really gained was access to a global community. I learned so much from the speakers about passion and performance. And another thing that I gained was definitely a lot of good friendships with people from all over the world. So I got to interact with a lot of students and young professional leaders in the 4 days that we were in Vienna together. So at first, I thought that you would just have 2 days of joining the conference and listening to speaks. But apparently, there were so many opportunities to really make friends with the fellow participants. On day 0, we had lunch at one of the oldest cafes in Vienna. And then we went to this waste incineration plant together. And then we had dinner with one of the founders of Siri. So Kurt Carlson, who's apparently in this call as well. And during that time, we basically learned so much about different cultures, and learned about how we could apply the different like leadership lessons in our own countries. So the final thing that I really gained was an experiential learning for better business leadership. So on the last day of the conference, there was this pilot workshop where we had a youth panel that was led by, again, the founder of Siri, Kurt Carlson. He basically worked with us in coming up with the value proposition of our own ventures. So for example, for my own business, which was a wellness startup, he taught us about the frameworks for creating a value proposition, and I was able to apply that to my own business and even refine it together with the crowd. So I learned so much from this conference, more than I thought I would gain just from writing my essay about my own experiences. So I guess to set up, I would really encourage you to join this for again, 3 reasons. One is to really get that opportunity to learn more about yourself and how you could be a better communicator and a better leader. Second is to develop a global view that you would only get access to with getting those friendships with fellow participants, and even learning from experts from all over the world. And then finally, of course, is the networking or even exposure for your own ventures if you're an entrepreneur or you're a student leader. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please just message in the chat. Thank you.
Hey to all, I'm Pedro Breiner. Just like Darla, I was also a Drucker Challenge laureate from last year from the student category. Now I'm from Brazil, and unlike most of the participants, I do not come from a business background. I'm actually a med student. And looking back now, the Drucker Challenge was one of the best opportunities for me, not only to delve myself into a more business-oriented frame of mind and to learn a few of the key principles behind how to better manage myself and how to better manage my team as a healthcare provider as a whole. But all of that helped me not only become a better professional nowadays, but also better manage myself and better manage my own assets, both intellectually and financially. Now, Peter Drucker not only was a master in business administration, but in relationships. And I think that the relationships that we make and the people that we get to know during our trip to Vienna are one of the best things that we can get. You know, not only because of their interesting backgrounds, I even made a couple of friends, and when I went back to Europe, I visited them, I stayed at their houses, but also of the plethora that we get of outstanding individuals, like Darla mentioned. Dr. Carl Carlson was, I mean, he's just outstanding. Not only was he the leader of the team that built the Siri, he also built the HD TV. I mean, how do you get to do both of those things in one lifetime? And to just spend a couple hours chatting with him during breakfast, it was really a surreal thing. And to this day, I built in my laboratory the NABC principle of his. And whenever we're trying to pitch a new project to see if it could work, if we could do it, we always start from that. So that was a really big legacy that stuck with me. And so because of that, to get those experience, make sure you participate. Like Nayara was saying, make sure you write something true to yourself. But not only that's true, make sure it's something different. I come from a medical background, so I made sure to write about that because I was sure that most people were not from that background. So it was something that made me stand out. And I'm really glad that I did. I wrote a lot about my patient's experience. It was about passion economy. And since I come from Brazil, a lot of them were struggling during the pandemic and after it. And it was really inspiring to see their whole thought process and to accompany them through all of that. And I wrote a lot about them. And not only did they get to improve themselves by delving into the passion economy, it was a really beautiful sight to see. So I hope y'all can get to experience the trip to Vienna and all the friendships. And I hope you have a very good essay, and I'll see you in Vienna.
Thank you so much, to our speakers and also here. Feel free to leave your virtual applause for them. Thank you so much, Stella and Pedro. It was really inspiring to hear your story. And we now come to a new part of our intercession. And for this, I will leave my stage for someone who I would call one of the founding pillars of the Peter Drucker Forum. And I'm now leaving for Ilse Schraub.
Thank you, Francisca. And thank you so much, Jessica, Jadnika, Nayara, Darla, and Pedro. And a warm welcome to all of those I see here online. I have so many faces familiar to me, and I'm really happy to see you all here. Yeah. My name is Ilse Staub. I'm the mother of the Drucker Challenge that turns now 16 years old. We owe it to our team and the Drucker Forum family that the contest has become an amazing local exchange and understanding between cultures. To close the loop, I would like to show two slides. The first one is about our challenge winners from 2010 to 2022. Young students and professionals from all over the world. You can see them here. Yeah, just check the country. They are really from all over the world. Amazing, for me, amazing. And the second one is about the contest topics from 2010 to 2023. All these themes are more relevant than ever. Just look at continuity and change. Very, very relevant. Or this was already in 2010. Or reinventing work, reinventing organization in 2012. So, remains very relevant. Or many things one said, Peter Drucker's article is very, very famous. Or leadership and critical thinking. Critical thinking, think about ChatGPT, think about media, also very, very relevant theme. All these themes are aligned with the themes of the Global Peter Drucker Forum. This year's theme is creative resilience, leading in an age of discontinuity. These are no problem. We get back to the themes from 2010 to 2023 with the visuals here. Click them through. Yes, and here we have 2023 with our theme bouncing back. Yeah, emerging stronger after setback. Okay. Let me get back to the theme of the Drucker Forum this year. We have a slide about this. The theme is creative resilience, leading in an age of discontinuity. let me also welcome all those who are with me in the Vienna Center for Management Innovation. Richard Strauss, my husband, the president of the Drucker Forum. We have also here, I see, Margot Chang. Margot Chang is our chief operating officer. And whom do I see? I see Astra. Astra. Hello. And our daughter, Isabella. Okay, now the great moment. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome Dr. Behnam Tabrizi from Stanford University. Good morning. Good morning, Behnam. Hello.
Good morning, Ilse. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. May I introduce short? Yeah?
Sure.
Dr. Tabrizi is a world-renowned expert in transformation. He has also been a speaker at the Drucker Forum last year. He has taught at Stanford University and its executive programs for over 25 years and has studied over 1,000 transformations. Imagine. He consulted President Obama, if I'm right, and major tech companies, and has even advised the Vatican on its digital transformation. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And what is more, he's the author of 10 books on leading transformation and innovation. In his book, The Inside Out Effect, a practical guide to transformational leadership, he reveals powerful lessons on leadership and achieving one's full potential. He will give you now some inspiring insights on how to achieve your full potential and fulfillment. Behnam, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ilse, for your generous introduction. I'm at awe with the work that you, Richard, and everyone else do for the Drucker Forum, the Drucker Challenge. And I was a couple of things. I was at the breakfast on the last day last year, and I ran into Isabella. I introduced myself, and she told me what she did. And I told her my dream is to connect with the Drucker Challenge people. And I want to thank Isabella. I want to thank Ilse to making my dream come true. When I met people from Drucker Challenge in Vienna, I think 2 years ago, I thought that, wow, these are just like my students. They're from all over the world. And I felt at home, to be honest with you. I really felt at home. I love your spirit. I love your background and all the tough challenges that you've all overcome. So today I'm just going to briefly talk about some interesting things about fulfillment and reaching your full potential. A little bit about my life. You can all see the screen, right? And you can all hear me? Great. So I would say, if I would say what are the work that I'm really, really proud of out of the 10 books that Ilse mentioned, these 3 are my favorite. They are a trinity, a triad, which were labor of love, and each of them took many years to develop. Started with rapid transformation, which was how do organizations rapidly transform in a large scale, if you will. And at that time, it was about how do you get overlapping teams to achieve some greatness, if you will. I wrote this book around 2007, and around 2014, or so, I realized that the biggest challenge I notice with organizations going through transformation is what goes on in leaders' head. It's the mindset of people. Going back to what the legendary Peter Drucker said, you have to know yourself. And a lot of my executives were saying, well, how do I transform myself? And I also realized the biggest obstacle to transformation is people transforming themselves. So they asked me to recommend a book. I was thinking about, I looked at the books that were available. There were 30 or 40. So I decided that I'm just going to write one that is very practical. And it also, I got to work with a student of mine, Michael Terrell, which is also interesting because I was teaching some of these personal transformation things. And I ran into Michael a few weeks after the Stanford graduation. I said, Michael, how are you doing? Are you working? And he said, no. And usually, as you can imagine, Stanford students have many options. I said, how come you're not working? He said, well, I like to do the type of things that you're doing. And I said, I have a project about writing a book on personal transformation. If you're interested, let's work together. And so we wrote this book together. And the book has helped me, and I'm sure Michael too, to fill the gaps in my life. So it's been a great journey. And I'm going to mainly talk about the inside out effect today, but I'm also very excited about the new work that I've done in the past 7 years, which is studying some of the most amazing innovators, such as Amazon, Apple, Tesla, and Microsoft, and looked at how are they so successful in terms of perpetual transformation. And the book is out, but it will be available in August. I'm just truly excited. These are all labor of love. And for me, it's been it's a great journey just going through this. As Ilse said, the topic of this conversation is about how can you reach your full potential and fulfillment at the same time. And the thing I want to mention is that if you reach your full potential and if you're successful, but if you're not fulfilled, to me, that is not the right equation. You need to do both. And we all need to do both. And we're all in this journey of both reaching our full potential and fulfillment. And this morning, the universe spoke to me and shared with me a great video that I'm going to share with you, that to me it symbolizes reaching full potential and fulfillment. And I'm going to ask you why I think this video is the exemplar of reaching your full potential and fulfillment at the same time. So this is a cute little girl who has her grandma and is trying to share the experience of rain. Can someone tell me why is this video exemplar of reaching your full potential and reaching happiness and fulfillment? Why is that? Can someone share with me? You can also share on the chat. Sharing a moment. Yes, I mean, you can just tell that this little girl is truly present. She is having so much fun. She's so fulfilled. But there's another act that she does that to me, it's about reaching your full potential and fulfillment. That is very important. Happiness is about doing what you love and what makes you happy, but there is more than that. There's also sharing it with others and being generous with what you do. And I must say that it took me 30 years of my life to realize what this child has realized. And somehow all of you, I want to say all of you have this power to experience happiness, to reach your full potential, to share your gift with others. The universe gives all of us a gift, and it's up to us to open it up. And full potential and reaching your fulfillment is about becoming the best version of yourself. I think all throughout this conversation, we learned that be authentic, be who you are. Don't try to be like someone else. Everyone else is taken, by the way. There's a great quote by John Lennon, who says, when I was 5 years old, my mom always told me, try to be happy. When I went to school, the teachers asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to be happy. And they told me, you don't understand the assignment. And I said, you guys don't understand life. And so fulfillment is truly about finding out your best version and also being at service to others. So I wanted to share that with you before I continue with this conversation. I'm trying to move to the next slide. Okay. So I don't know if anyone is from China here, but this is similar to what Peter Drucker has said, but it's from Sun Tzu, and I think it's several thousand years ago, The Art of War. And what this says is, you know yourself, you know others. 100 battles, 100 win. That means once you really know yourself, the best version of yourself, then you become unstoppable. And that's what inside out living is all about. The model in the book at its center is about knowing yourself. And then it's about knowing is not enough. If you know yourself, it's only informative learning. You also need transformational learning. To have transformation learning, you also need to be that person, be your best version. And finally, you're ready to lead. And these are, by the way, iterative, if you will. It's a simple model, but it has worked really well in my work with organizations and with people and nonprofit. So how do we know ourselves? Well, neuroscience tells us that 90 to 95% of what we do and decisions we make is autopilot. And this might be shocking to you, but the ideas here is that based on what has happened in our past, our neurocircuitry has developed a decision-making model. And basically, based on our past, we make decisions. So if you come up with an amazing AI tool, if you come up with an amazing system that could copy our brain, then 90-95% of the time, it could be predictable. Often when we're faced with urgent emergency or fear, sometimes we do things that is not part of our repertoire, but in most cases, we are on autopilot. And it's not bad, because when I'm driving to the university, I'm going to work, or I'm giving this presentation, I'm on autopilot because I've given this many times and so forth. But it makes change very difficult. So the question is, how do we change when we know 90 to 95% of what we do is predictable? And I promise you that I will finish this conversation on some good news about how to change. Because in some ways, I'd like to invite all of you to start embarking on a journey of personal development. And personal development never ends. For me, it's just starting. And young people come to me and they say, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure about my career. I don't know, if I should take this job. And what I tell them is, don't worry, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So I'm always going through a personal development, personal journey, I'm always working on that. So it's a mountain with no top, and it's truly, truly gratifying. We also need to know who we're not. We're not our thoughts. Around 80 to 85% of our thoughts are instrument of torture. And it's the voice in our head that oftentimes it's an obstacle. It creates constraints in our life and prevents us to have freedom of self-expression and be truly, truly powerful. And oftentimes we associate too much to our thoughts. So that little voice in our head, which is based on our experiences in our past, oftentimes is the driver of us, and we're basically taking a back seat. And by the way, Einstein has also mentioned this in his writing, that we are the master, but we let our thoughts to be the master. You can build this amazing castle by the beach, but our thoughts, and especially our negative thoughts, slowly would erode those castles and so forth. So we're not our thoughts. If you think of an ocean has a lot of waves. Our thoughts are all those waves, or all those things that keeps coming to our mind. And I think it's very, very important to realize that we are that depth of that ocean. We're not this whims that happens on a daily basis and so forth. So if we're not our thoughts, we're also not our feelings, if you will. And there is a friend of mine who has studied the ratios of positive and negative thoughts, and he argues that happy people have a ratio of about 4 to 5 positive thoughts to a negative thought. And the question is, how could we alter our thinking so that we have higher ratio of positive thoughts? And this challenge and the challenge that it's very difficult to change are the two things that I'm going to address as we continue on this discussion. Little bit about my background, my personal story. And no, I'm not applying for the Drucker Challenge, but I must say, to me, all of you are winners. I know I'm putting myself in your shoes, and I'm thinking about, how could I win this? How could I at least get to be number 1, 2, 3, and so forth? I would have done, if I were you guys, that's how I would have thought. And I would have thought, I wonder what she's gonna write. I wonder what he's gonna write. I wonder if Drucker has something great that I could quote and so forth. And somehow I would completely forgot about what that little girl just taught me. And that is, look, happiness is personal. You find out your gift, develop your gift, and then if there are things that Peter Drucker, the legendary Peter Drucker, has done, connect to it. But it's all about your authentic self. And oftentimes, the key journey on personal transformation is look at your past and look at the defining moments of your past. And I'm going to share with you mine. When I was about 3.5 years old, my parents got divorced. And I still recall my stepmother sitting in the stairs next to me. At that time, I felt like this is a strange lady telling me, from now on, I'm your mom. And I recall the feelings I had at that 3.5-year-old, where I felt, wow, your mom is like a plug and play. You can change and bring in somebody new. And now I know she had the best of intention, but for me, it was like, you know what? This defining moment, I'm just going to survive. I'm just going to study, make my dad happy. And that's all I'm going to do. So I did that. Forward to being at Stanford, having won the Teacher of the Year award, have won scholarly award, but I was really unhappy. I had a great family, lovely wife, lovely child, and so forth, but I was not fulfilled. I kind of, from outside, people thought that life is fantastic for me, but it wasn't for me. And I went through a period of self-reflection. And what I learned is that happiness is about serving others. And all my life was about making my dad happy. So what I did is I switched. I made a commitment that my life is going to be transformation. That's why when I saw Isabella, I said, I want to work with the young people. And my hope is that I spoke to Yavnika. And by the way, Yavnika was my student at my executive program. And people ask me, what is the secret to your teaching success? I say, there is no secret, just two things. Love what you do, love your work, and love your students. So Yavnika and I, we were talking about potentially what we could do is maybe create a LinkedIn group with Isabella, with Ilsa, and the Peter Drucker people, and have everybody in it all the years in the past. And we'll have sessions like this, because 20 minutes is not enough. Usually these things take a workshop, a few days workshop, and so forth. But anyway, back to this picture. Why do I have this picture? Well, when you're young, when you're like that little girl, everything is perfect. You're like that fish in a fish tank, and something crazy happens, like a divorce. Boom! It's like a poop in your fish tank. Or you're excited. You get some love at home. You go to school. You fall in love with this boy or a girl or whatever, and they're mean to you. Poop in a fish tank. You get a job, and your boss is mean to you, poop in a fish tank. And all of a sudden we have so much poops in our fish tank, and we're like, why am I not transforming? So part of personal transformation is connecting with our past and realizing that oftentimes our past creates constraint for our future. So if we put a file folder in our past, and with a high predictability, you can actually put it in front of you and you can decide on your future. And part of this process that I'm talking about is putting your past in your past and creating a clean sheet. And from that clean sheet, create a future that truly, truly inspires you. And it has to have an element of serving others, but it also has to be like that little girl finding what makes you happy and what brings you joy in life. By the way, this is a picture of when I was younger. The doctor just looked at my mom without any test, said it's going to be a girl, so I only wore girl clothes. I think that's all they had for me when I was growing up. So anyway, so basically, 3.5-year-old, my parents got divorced. That's what happened. The story I created was, I need to survive. This world is crazy. I cannot trust anybody. And what I did is I collapsed these stories. We do that. We collapse the stories of what happens to us or what actually happened. And with uncollapsing this, we realize the toll that it has in our lives. So I moved from this person who was all about himself to being on service of others. And it's been really a fulfilling experience. And it helps me. It helps me melt my ego. It helps me with a rudder that really gets me through the fads and fashions of life. And your generation, and I've raised my daughter, and I've seen the challenges that your generation have. Your generation are the most marketed generation in the world. Kurt and Federico and Ilse and others could tell you, when we were kids, we didn't have all of this. We'd just be like happy-go-lucky kids. We didn't have to compare ourselves or our looks to somebody else who has filter around their face and all of that. So the fact that you guys have survived this crazy, crazy world, congratulations. And now it's time to kind of reset your life, relaunch your life. And let me just share with you a model, and then I'll be quiet. Then I'll entertain questions. But what I want to do is just introduce you to this topic, get you excited, and hopefully through Isabella, Yavnika, and Ilse, we'll have a longer session. And I want to be available for all of you, not just the winners of this competition. So the model in the book is based on Mother Teresa, Helen Keller. Helen Keller, who has said that it's very unfortunate to see but have no vision. And Helen Keller could not see and could not hear, but she had an amazing vision. And those of you who studied her, she is just a truly extraordinary woman. So the model of how to find your vision statement is about S means your strengths. You'll find out what your strengths are. And one of the ways you can find your strengths is ask people, but try many things, okay? Try as many things as possible. Find out whether something gives you happiness. Does it evoke happiness, evoke meaning to you? So it has to evoke meaning, and it also has to make you happy. And if it connects to all these three, and it's at service to others, and you could make a career out of it, that is who you are at your best. And part of what I do with my executives, with my students, with people I work with, we create these vision statements, and we come up with what we call a compass paper at the end of the quarter, where students talk about what their goals are, but from an authentic self, from their best version, not from what the world wants them to do. So I'm going to stop now and entertain some questions. But before then, I want to share with you my vision statement, which is something I just read before I gave this presentation, because I was thinking about, who are you guys to me? For me, you guys are just amazing human beings that have endured some very difficult times and difficult environments. And the older generation haven't been that good to you in terms of creating all these tools, and I think Silicon Valley is also guilty of that, but at the same time you've survived. So I stand for purpose of unconditional love, infinite and abundant energy and passion, with inspirational presence to transform people, organizations, and countries while upholding my highest integrity. So this is a very, very tall goal to reach. And I tell myself this every day. And every time I read this to myself, I get goosebumps. It helps me deal with conflict. It helps me deal with, what I do in the next year, what I do 2 years from now. It has really become a compass in my life that has, that has really helped me to make sense of this crazy world. The other day, my wife was telling me, you spend a lot of time with the students and so forth. And my students were actually there too, and we're just kind of reflecting. And I came up with this statement that this is what universities offer me. School is really not a factory, it's a temple to me. Students are not customers, they're like my children. And being an educator is not a profession, it's a calling. And just imagine if you walk in life and decide this is who you're going to be, not what you do. Forget about doing, because we're human doing. Let's be human being. How much more powerful, how much more magnanimous you'll be, how much more fulfilled you'll be when you create meanings in your life and you create a compass that will drive you in your life. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for this inspiring message. And I love that as you're highlighting that what I take really is that it's about coming up with a statement, but then also reminding yourself daily of it. So I love that you keep rereading this every day. So thank you for sharing this. And also I really love the aspect that it's not just about yourself, but really at the service you can be to others. So yeah, thank you so much for this inspiring talk. And I would say we can take maybe 1 or 2 questions. So I would ask you to raise your hand if you have a question for Behnam, so we can take questions. In the meantime, if there are no questions, I saw that there was one before, which was, how do you become the most authentic version of? What would you say?
You mean who? Me?
No, like as a general question, if you
Yes.
were to give someone advice, how do you find your
That's-
story, as you're saying, or
Yes.
like your authentic version of yourself.
Right. So the C model actually helps a lot because you basically write down a number of strengths that you have and you can ask around. But remember, you guys are very young, so try different things and get out of your comfort zone. Magic happens out of your comfort zone. The fact that you're applying for this, the fact that you're here in this global space, getting out of your comfort zone. Find out where is it that you truly get inspired and you're in a zone. Okay, when you're in a zone, that's where your strengths are, where you have meaning. You get true meaning in your life. It makes you happy, and if you can make the career out of it, so much the better. But keep exploring. It took me I think by 35, 36, 37 to do that. It's never too late. And, even if it's going to take 40 years, 50 years, it's okay. Because once you stumble into it, you become unstoppable.
Yeah, and as you're saying, I think it's a lifelong process really of stumbling into yourself that never really stops. Sarah posted in the chat and asked me how you got into the field of psychology.
Well, good question. I studied sociology, anthropology, and social psychology with my formal training when I did my PhD at Stanford. But then I realized social psychology is about like teams and you study a lot of psychology, but it's a little bit more like in groups, like group of 5 or 6 and so forth. But then as I had my breakdown, and again, sometimes we kind of look at breakdown as a negative things. I think spiritual breakdown is the best thing that could happen to us because it melts our ego and we really try to understand what are the fundamental things that we care about. So going through that breakdown for me forced me to get myself out of that morass of being at Stanford, looking good and not being myself, is to question my values, question who I am. And that took me through a journey of many, many years. Then I said, oh, I found a gift. Let me share it with everyone else.
Yeah, and mentioning breakdowns, I guess also this is what the challenge is about, like how do you come back stronger after these situations? So maybe as a last question from my side, is there any final word of advice you would have for the participants in our call today for the challenge this
year? Egg broken from inside, life begins. Egg broken from outside oftentimes dies, right? So focus on your inside, have self-reflection, do the things that makes you happy. What makes me happy is different than what makes Isabella happy, what makes others. Some people like to just, make sure you devote some time to declutter your mind, because oftentimes when you are in social media or, reading email and so forth, it's just like constant rush of endorphin that is not good for us. So calm your mind, go for walks. Next time you have a meeting, go for a walk. Make sure you do a lot of self-care, and most of your creativity will come when you quiet your mind and realize that you've been given the most amazing gift in the world, and your job is to discover it. Don't rush it, go slow, but don't let others tell you who you are. You define yourself.
Wow, that was a very lovely closing for your session, and I really loved also the image with the egg. It took me some time to realize what you meant, but I will definitely write it in my notebook tonight. So, Behnam, thank you so much for your great input. And I think also if you read the chat, you will see that the feedback was very positive. So I would like to ask the participants also for a virtual applause for our speaker. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you to all of you. And please connect with me on LinkedIn. And again, I'm just truly honored to be here. And Isabella, thank you for being the bridge for me to be here. This is like, this is me at my best when I'm just around young people.
By the way, just as a fun, my name is Francisca and Isabella is also here. I'm the moderator today, and Isabella is also here.
Hi, Isabella.
Hi.
Good to see you.
So we also have a moment of surprise for you at the end.
Okay, thank you so much. I apologize. Because Isabella was the person who we talked about this program and so forth.
Don't worry about it. So now we have both of us at the end. So thank you so much. And this kind of brings us to the end of today's info session on the Global Peter Drucker Challenge. And we really hope that it motivated all of you to participate, that you now feel ready to hand in your essays, that you have some food for thought, that you know how to recharge yourself. And yes, we would like to also remind you once again to spread the word. So Mo, if you could please blend in our handle for the social media. Yes, feel free to share your experience. Feel free to contact us if you have questions, as mentioned before. We're doing our best to get back to all of the questions. And now for the closing, again, I'm stepping to the side a little bit because Ilse is joining me now. And yes, and Ilse, what would you like to say to the participants?
First, I would like to thank Behnam. Thank you very much. This was really a very inspiring presentation. Yeah, with your heart, came from your heart. Yeah, and now I would like also I would like to wish all those who are present now good luck for your essay. Hope to see you all in Vienna. And don't forget, the deadline is the 31st of May. See you.
And we have nothing really to add to this, except saying that, yes, Vienna waits for you. Thank you so much for joining.
Vienna waits for you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.